Hello, everyone. It's Sharon Devonish Lead, and we are doing a special edition of NetStruck Talks today. And why is it a special edition? One is Black History Month, and two, I am giving tribute to my mentors. I'm giving tribute to those who have helped me going into this world of public relations. And I am so excited to have this person here, Dr. Pam Perry. I call her the OG in public relations. And why I am giving a tribute to Dr. Perry is when I started out. Now, I've been in the game for about 20 plus years, but I was working for an agency. And, you know, when you work for an agency, people come to you, press come to you. I was working for a government. I was working for the DA. People were coming to you. But when you are working as a solopreneur, when you have your own boutique, you got to chase the media for your clients. And so I met Dr. Perry at one of the FraserNet conferences. And that was the first time I met her. I had just launched my business. And I was very insecure because I was just looking at all these other publicists and they were just doing their thing, not realizing that, you know, I'm just starting out solo and really didn't understand the dynamics of it. And why I am so excited and why I'm so pleased and just so excited to give tribute to Dr. Perry is she didn't know me. And I came to her and I said, I'm just starting out. How do you put yourself out there? Again, she didn't know me. And she literally poured out to me at this conference, at her table. That's what I call the OG in PR. And she gave me so many nuggets that she didn't have to. And that's what made me realize that this is something where one, this world is so huge. There are thousands and millions of people who need PR, but everybody has their own niche. Everybody does it their own style. And what Dr. Perry did was she told me what worked for her. And she told me, you take what works for you. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing. And since then, she has always been like, nudging me like, hey, Sharon, nudging me. Hey, Sharon. So Dr. Perry, welcome to NetStruck.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Sharon. I just love you because it's like your sister from another mister. So we just clicked right away. And yes. I am one of those people that is staunch for my people, like a sister girl, a publicist, been doing it. And the thing of it is you've been in the PR industry, but just now you're in as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And so it's a totally different game when you don't have the big brand behind you or the big agency behind you. People can really be pretty snobbish, so to speak. Like when they used to return your call, and then when you don't, the same thing happened to me when I worked for McDonald's. So I was doing PR for McDonald's. So that's a big brand. So if you pick something to the media, it's like, okay, yeah, we're going to pick it up. It's McDonald's or for any of them. But when I started on my own, it was like, I don't even get a return call.
It's
like,
crickets.
Really? Yeah. It's like, what? What's this? Did I get the wrong number? It's like, yeah.
It's
so it is really important. And it's important.
And that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting because I didn't know that you worked for McDonald's, that you did PR for McDonald's.
I worked for an agency. Yeah, I worked for an agency that did PR for McDonald's. And the agency also did Dunkin Donuts. So when I did the PR for McDonald's, it was the African-American owner-operators. Mm-hmm. And that's where I actually met a lot of my media contacts doing that. And a lot of my clients, when I did launch solo, they came and worked with me as well. But yeah, I did PR, and then Dunkin Donuts. Dunkin Donuts was PR and social media. So we wrote copy for social media as well as also doing the PR. So yeah, but when you have those big brands, it's like, okay, it's so different. You put on the wire and you basically kind of almost wait for the phone calls. Whereas if you're working for an individual that is not well known,
Right.
you have to really do the whole pitching. You have to really
Yeah.
do the chasing, the stalking, just like, okay, they really are a hidden secret. Let me show you
Mhm.
why they're really going to be a good story. So yeah,
Right,
it's a
right.
different, it's a different.
It's a different feel, and you're so right. Coming from a big company or corporation or elected official, a big elected official, to now your own, and I used to take it personal because I would know some of them, and that's when I realized that, oh shoot, it's not the reporter, it's their editor or it's their executive producer. They're the
Mhm.
ones that's making the decisions, and I was like, oh my God, like, why you ghosted me? So,
Exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah, it would be, they have a job to do and they really want to cover the juicy stories. They want to cover the big stories, the ones that are already in the headlines. They're not
mhm,
trying to really, a lot of them are not trying to figure out how to make someone quote unquote famous. They want someone already famous that they
right.
can just shine the light on more because that makes them look
Yep,
good. It's like, oh, you got in
that's
touch
true.
with such and such. Okay, yeah, the producer for this particular movie is great, but if someone is just like doing a local play, not so much. So, not so
Right,
much. We don't want the local mocos. And so you just have to find the right niche for the right person. So not everybody's going to be on the major media. So where would they fit? And so I always say the black press, I love the black press. They are the ones that really will give us an opportunity most of the time, or black radio. Those are the
hmm,
ones that will give you the opportunity. Or I just say, start with your local regional publications, your regional
right,
magazines.
right.
Speakers Magazine was created because I just, I really felt like someone like, this is a cover for February, someone like Sean is a great person, but no one would give him a cover, right? Because
Hmm,
I know that they're great, but no one would give them a cover in terms of major media. So we created
hmm,
our own media. And that was, and a lot of the African American speakers are awesome orators.
right,
Awesome. They can speak circles around so many people, but there was not an outlet for them to really shine. And so I said, you know what? If they don't do it, then I'll just create it. And because I've created, they have now gone on and gotten other media opportunities. So that's really the whole point, to give them some
right.
place to start. You don't start at the top. You start and you move your way up.
And you move your way up.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And we're going to get back to Speakers Magazine because that is something that, when you had it again at the conference, I saw this big billboard and I was just like, oh my gosh, she has her own magazine. She's this, she's that. So we're going to get back to that. But I want to go back to when you initially launched your own business. And this is going, what, 20 plus?
21 years.
Yeah, 20 plus years. The game was different.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was so different.
It was
It was
different.
a point where obviously internet was not the thing. And so in order to meet clients, you either had to go in person, go on a conference, or the social media was not a place where you can get visibility. So I ended up having to just really go to a lot of conferences to meet my ideal client. And
Mhm.
that's where I really decided that speaking at conferences, I was working with speakers and authors. So I spoke at Book Expo America, Publishers University, CBA, Christian Business Association, ICRS, International Christian, different things like that. CABA, which was NABJ, going to different conferences, speaking around Chamber of Commerce, wherever they would allow me to speak, I would
Mhm.
speak on marketing PR because there
Mhm.
was not the social media. There was
Didn't have the
no,
social media. But
yeah, I mean,
how did it work with, pitching to the media now? I mean, that was a
yeah.
whole different.
That was a whole different thing. So we had PR Newswire, but that was really kind of like what agencies would use. So really, it was just one-on-one email. It was one-on-one email. And at one point in time, we were faxing. So we would do fax blast, if you remember that. So that was
This
totally
is
different.
those millennials would be like, facts, what's that?
Yeah, we do a fax blast. You program it, and then it would just, all
Just,
your immediate contacts would get on the fax, and then
mhm.
it became like doing the email, and then eventually, what I did is that I put all the media contacts that I had accumulated over the year into, at that point, Constant Contact, which I don't use anymore, but I put them in Constant Contact, and then I would send out my press releases via Constant Contact. And so they would get them, and then they would reply back, or then I would still have to call, but I could call. I could call the place. I didn't have
Right.
we can actually call the news desk, or we call the television station. So that was like the main thing. And then we would mail. So this was kind of really before books were ebooks, or that kind of thing. It's like I had to literally put the press release, fold it up, put it in the book, put the book in an envelope, and slap it up to the post office and mail them the advanced review copy, the ARC, the ARC. And I did that over and over and over again. And the post office would be looking at me like, ooh, she got another box of books here, sending the media mail, because we would send the media mail. But now we don't. We just basically send someone a PDF of the book, electronic copy of the book. So much easier, that sometimes they still want the books, especially if they're going to be on television. It's like, send me a copy. But for the most part, it's just like, okay, send me the advanced reading copy electronically. And that would be the thing, so we do that, and we send videos, and I mean, everything. CDs were back then. So we would mail CDs like that of a speaker, like their speaker reel would be on a CD. It's like, ooh, that was high tech, right? You have a speaker reel, I'm sending to you on a CD, it's like, oh my God. When I look at it, it's like, so when I think about it, it's like, it's so much easier now. It's more noisy, but it is easier because you don't have that cumbersome way of really doing the individual emails, and you still do individual emails, but it was just like you couldn't inbox someone to make sure that they got the email.
Right.
So if I send someone an email and it's like, oh, they didn't respond, then maybe I can go on Twitter and say, hey, did you get the email I just sent you? Where before it was like you just try to call them or try to meet them at a conference somewhere. It's just so much easier now. You can DM someone on IG, you can inbox them on Facebook, you can follow them on any of the social media platforms. LinkedIn is one of my favorites. So it's so much more to and you could just really warm up to the media more now, where before, like I said, we had to go to conferences in order to meet the media. Now I can kind of stalk them on social media and say, see what they're doing. Okay. So
and they don't have to look at you cross-eyed like, do I need police coverage or something?
Right. And basically it's just like I'm stalking them to do the research. It's like, well, what do they cover? What type of things are they covering? Are they covering small business? Are they covering construction? Are they covering hospitals? What are they really covering? And so when I look at the series of the stories that they cover, it's like, oh, they don't even cover that. No wonder they didn't call me back. They don't even cover this. So I can say, I'm sorry, I sent you the wrong press release. You don't cover this. Do you know who covers this beat? And they'll tell you. It's like, oh, okay, I appreciate that. Yeah. So no, this isn't my beat, but I'll forward over to someone else because this is what they cover. But I would only know that from social media, knowing what they cover and what they don't cover.
Absolutely.
That's important.
So social media technology actually has made it much easier for you. Was it hard for the transition though? Or it was just like a 1, 2, 3, like, oh, I could do this with my eyes closed?
Well, it was harder for the clients more so than for me because I was like an early adopter. So I was on MySpace. So this was like way back when. So I remember particularly when I was working with different authors, so it's Christian authors, and I told them that they need to create a MySpace account. They need to go on there and connect with their readers. They were like, MySpace? Getting on MySpace? It was like it was evil. It was like I was asking them to go to like a strip club or something.
Oh,
I was like, no. I said, this is MySpace. I said, because your readers can connect with you directly if you have a MySpace account. And then eventually Facebook became a thing. And then I said, you need to create a page for your book so that people will know. And this is all before we were doing lives. I said, but they want to really interact with you. You're like a celebrity. The authors are like celebrities. I said, so when they follow you, they're getting to know you better. So your first book, your second book, they'll talk about it and all of that. So yeah, it wasn't hard for me. It was hard for the authors and the speakers to really get involved in that. Because like, what is this? What is this Facebook? What's this about?
Or book face,
Yeah, or book face. What is this about? I was like, no, you need to be on it and you need to really engage with your community. And I always tell people, so now when people look at my Facebook page or whatever, they'll see like maybe 20,000 on Twitter or 25,000 on LinkedIn or Facebook. I have different pages, but I've been doing it for 20 years. So I knew initially that this was going to be a thing, because you can go, if you're an author and you want publicity because you want people to buy your book. But if you can get directly to your readers, you don't really need the publicity. Now everybody's on social media. So now you need publicity because to give you the extra edge. But before, when I was telling people to get on social media, the ones that did really expanded. One of the ones was Rashonda Tate Billingsley, Victoria Christopher Murray, Jacqueline Thomas. I mean, a lot of those, and they've gone on and done like, well, their books have become movies and all that kind of stuff, because they grasp it early. And those are the people that, even if you grasp TikTok early or you grasp Clubhouse early, you may not know exactly how you're going to use it in terms of your marketing PR strategy, but at least become familiar with the tool.
Right. And that's important. And and educating clients on that is, especially if they're already set in their ways, it's so much more difficult. And, they start kicking and screaming and like, you know what, I can't just do this. And so what do you do with clients that are, that's like that? It's like, no, I'm not going to do this.
I would say, you know what, it's a thing like, either you're going to say, I'm going to play CDs when everybody else is doing MP3s, or, I'm not going to do a podcast because I want to listen to radio. Well, people are listening to radio on iHeart. I mean, so everything changes. So I said, if you can't do it, either you're going to have to pay someone to do it, but it is part of the marketing pie now. It is not an option. It's something that we have to do. You don't have to be on every platform. But I know in terms of, if you really want to show up differently, have that competitive edge, you do need to learn some of these things. You need to have an email list. That's going to be important. But in order to get traffic for your website where people will do business with you, social media drives traffic to your website. And then the website should convert and that kind of, I said, that's just digital marketing. I had a client the other day that just couldn't understand like Eventbrite and how that worked and how to send emails out through it and how to add a video. I mean, they just couldn't figure it out. And I said, well, you need to have someone that can help you with this part of it, of you setting it up. So I have someone that knows marketing. They have a degree in marketing. And I'm like, but is it digital marketing? There's a difference. I mean, marketing is really like, if you have a lemonade stand and you make a nice sign and you put it outside, that's marketing too, right?
Right.
But we don't do that. So there's digital marketing. And so you need someone that can help you with the technology part of marketing, and that's digital marketing. So all of the tools, even like what we're using, StreamYard, that streams in different places, and all of those things, they're made to be simple so anyone can use them. It's not difficult. If it was difficult, then people wouldn't buy them. Zoom, if it was difficult, nobody would do it. So it has to be pretty much idiot proof. You just have to read. But most of them, I said, it's not difficult to learn. It really isn't. Some of the things are a little bit more difficult, but what I tell my husband, even this, I said, most of the platforms are the same over and over again. Upload a picture, put in your bio, put in a link, the same thing. If it's a HTTP, we now know how to do that. And, forward slash. I mean, it's not like we're coders, but it's so much over and over again that you should be able to get it. And so I tell my clients, I said, it's nothing new. It's the same thing. If you can do a reel, you can do a TikTok. If you can do a podcast, you can do a Clubhouse. If you could do a Zoom, you can do a streamer. It's all the same. It's just a little bit different. I said, but basically they all run the same.
And it's good to have different styles too. So you can't have to be the same thing over and over and over again. And plus, you also have to look to see exactly, you know what, I have a different type of clientele here, and I have another type of clientele here. And, you're leaving money on the table by just doing it one way.
Yes.
And, having variety is always good. You mentioned that, your authors are, it's Christian based. What made you decide? Like, I know that you went from, different type of niches. How did you, what made you say, okay, this is my specific, this is my niche?
I felt part of the thing is that I know books changes lives, right? Motivational, inspirational books, they change lives. They changed my life. And I felt if I'm going to do marketing PR and use all the skills that I have, I want to do a work where I help people who change lives. Now, it may not be me that is going to be the person that speaks to them or writes those inspirational messages or books, but I know I can help someone market better. And I want to do it from the standpoint of those that are authors or speakers, not necessarily because you can still be in ministry like gospel music that also helps people, change lives, but I didn't want to do music. I wanted to do authors and speakers. And so I just really felt really strongly about it. I have thousands and thousands of books. Some of my favorite authors, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, Dr. George Fraser, Les Brown, all of those guys are really Dr. Pat Bailey, Dr. Susan Johnson Cook, all of them have great messages. But I felt looking at them that the skill set that I had working with, Fortune 500 companies, that they didn't have the marketing savviness or even the presence or the polish to really push their message out there so that they can change more lives. So I just knew it was intentional. When I worked for a PR director as a Salvation Army, the Salvation Army, basically, I loved that job. I had that job before I was married. And then after I got married, had my daughter, I stopped working at the Salvation Army. But the key word was salvation. Salvation Army is a church. It's a church. That's all it is. But they market so well and they're so well known. Their branding is on point. When you see the red shield, you know immediately that they are a charity that does good work. Sharing is caring. They had logos. They had direct mail. We did the PR community events. When I look at a lot of the African American authors and speakers, they're not run like that. They don't even take the time to really figure out their brand or the brand colors or how to market and promote and do a press release. I mean, they just didn't have it. And I just knew that if I'm going to market and promote something for my career, I want to do that. And so I made a decision. I said, Ministry Marketing Solutions, that's what I'm going to do. Started it in 2000. My first client was a gospel play, and he got on the front page of the Detroit Free Press. And that was one of those plays. It was called Perilous Times. And people who went to that play said that play changed their life, right? And so from there, went to go work with other different churches and things like that. And that's when I really started educating a lot of the churches of how to use social media. Andre Butler was one of those. He was, they called him now the internet preacher, right? This was like way back when I was showing him how to use social media and how to use it, doing your website. And a lot of times they weren't even doing videos. And I said, when you do your YouTube videos, I said, once you be a little bit more casual, making sure that it's shareable. I mean, he took that and ran with it. And he just produced a movie last year too, by the way. And he started his own TV station. It's going to be, My Faith Channel or something like that. But yeah, so everything he saw changing, he decided to impact more people. So he's on Facebook, he's on Instagram, he's on Twitter, and he's in with the culture, but he's looking cool about it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's marketing, but it's marketing the message. It's PR, but it's promoting a message that really is life changing. Faithpreneur is another one. I mean,
absolutely.
So they look cool. And so if you want people to be attracted to you, it has to have those same marketing and PR branding skills so that people will come to it. A lot of times churches will say, well, it's just a church. It doesn't have to look that good. I'm like, no, it has to look better. We can't be raggedy out here. We're going to make sure that you are polished up and that you look right and that things are promoted properly. You're going to talk to the media. You're not going to preach to them, but I'm going to show you how to really get your message across without preaching. And that took some media savviness on their part of me teaching them and how to make sure that they can go into major media. And then actually, T.D. Jakes is a good example. I mean, he's a pastor, but he's not preaching. When he goes on television, he's not preaching.
Right. Yeah. He's one of my favorite spiritual speakers.
Yes. I did two of his books. Not Easily Broken. I promoted that book. And the other one was Cover Girls. Cover Girls was a novel. Both of those are novels. And so it's even unusual. I mean, he just broke the mold. He did a couple of novels, and then the novels became the movies. Not Easily Broken. It was Morris Chestnut and Taraji. And promoted that book as well. And so it became, when the book does well, then it turns into a movie. And then that's when the big bucks come in, right?
Right. Exactly. No, I mean, you've had some really, really great success stories, some really great clients that you worked with. And, let's go into Speakers Magazine. So when you started Speakers Magazine, was this something that you said to yourself, I have no choice? Or it was like, a planning stage for you, you started your whole PR campaign and thing. Was it something that you said that, part of my brand is going to be that I'm going to have a magazine that I can, have my
Well,
clients and other people?
yeah, this was actually like my third magazine that I started.
Okay.
And I just pulled this information out too not too long ago. I had an idea to do a magazine called Inspire probably about 10, 15 years ago. I always love magazines. Magazines,
Mhm.
I believe, are the best thing because they're always fresh and new every single month.
Right.
So the first magazine I did was called Inspired, and it was really about Christian living and showing the Christian life living of joy, like just almost like a essence, but really just Christian version, almost like a
Mhm.
gospel today, but a little bit more business oriented. And so we did a couple of issues and then it folded. And then we did another one called Soul Source, and that was a tabloid. And again, I was on top of that. Really trying to pull in my authors who wanted to write for the newspaper it was like a tabloid. And we did 4 or 5 issues. I think we had a cover. We had Kiki Sheard when she first did her first album.
Mhm.
Glenn Plummer was like the first, so I really want to it was put in the black newspaper. It was an insert,
Mhm.
and it was almost like you can pull it out. It's like, wow, this is a Christian publication. It was called Soul Source, and we did about 4 or 5 issues, and it was really, really good. But we just could not make it work. So
Mhm.
I put it on the back burner, and I said, wow. And then I did a newsletter too, and so that one,
Okay.
again, didn't work. And so I said, well, it'll be time again. And so I remember writing on 2017 at the beginning of the year. I said, I want to do a magazine. I didn't know what it was. So a friend of mine who's a designer said, hey, I want to do this magazine for speakers. And it just leapt out of me. And I was like,
Mm.
oh my God. He said, I would love for you to be the publisher of Speakers Magazine. And
Wow.
it just gelled together because I had been trying and trying so many years before. But when he said speakers, I knew exactly what it was going to be. And I knew how to really, because I had the vision years before of what it
Right.
would look like. And
Right.
it's a tabloid size. So it wasn't like a large one. The other ones were large. The other ones were newsprint, but this was glossy, like a jet size. And I was like, this is perfect. And I knew exactly who the cover stories would be, what they would look like, and what it would do for the speakers because it was part PR as well. And
Right.
we would go around to conferences of where the speakers were having their events, and that would be the issue that people would take away from that because they would be on the cover of that. So that was really it didn't take off um like the first year. Obviously it was like a little just trying to get the system together, but now 5 years later it's a little bit more systemized. Like all the covers for 2022 have been picked and we're solidified, and I have a great writer, Sierra Black. She writes all the cover stories, and
Mhm.
those are some of the things. And then we have a partnership that came in a year later, Black Speakers Network, because I
Right.
thought they had the same vision to help Black speakers. So it's always been, it grows. Dr. Sherwood has been on the cover like 3 times. Her twin sister Sharika has been on the cover. So I see the growth in it, and I just want to do more with it as well because
Mhm.
it really is a brand extension for the speakers. To Del Toro, he used it as a brand extension when he launched his book, and his
Mhm.
book became a bestseller. So it's one of those tools where I always want to do magazines. And my house is filled with magazines from way back when. So people will know that I love books and magazines. Those are my 2 favorite things. Like
That's
if you just want to just make me happy, I just go to the bookstore and I'm piling
just
up
a
books
bit.
and magazines. Right.
But that's it. That is good to know, because what I do, part of with my PR campaign, I tell my clients, depending on what their industry is, I was like, you need to be a speaker.
Mhm.
Like, this is another form of PR. It's
Yes.
exposure. So this is a great opportunity for, all of my speakers that are listening, entrepreneurs, authors. I mean, this is a great opportunity to plug into Dr. Pam Perry, to see how is it that you can actually get a feature in there, what all of what the details are and things like that. But
Mhm.
again,
Mhm.
this is a form of PR. Like, people think with PR, it's just media, media, media. It's a host of other
It's a whole lot.
things.
It all builds on
A
each other. It
whole
really
lot.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole lot. So,
And I always tell people, I said, the main thing that you would need, you're really trying to be a speaker, whether you're a professional speaker or a public speaker, is really have a great bio. And so
mm,
writing your bio is really what we feature in the magazine. So if you see
mhm,
someone in here, it's their picture. They have to have a great picture and they have a great bio. So then
right,
you have to know how to connect to the audience. That's
right.
really it. So this goes out to our subscribers as well, goes out to the media, and it's online. So if you have a great bio and it's like, oh, okay, this person is a coach, an author, and a speaker, and what is their main thing? That they are lifting up ADHD Black voices. Her name is L. LaShawn, and basically she tells you how to connect with her and why she speaks on what she speaks on. So it's like you've got to narrow your focus down and have a really great bio. That's
Definitely.
just, if you
Yeah,
can't write it yourself, hire someone to write it for you.
absolutely. A great bio and a great photo headshot.
Oh my God. That's really all you need. Even if you don't have a website, those will help. Just
Hmm.
just email it to people. People say, "Well, I want you on my show," and it's like you need your bio and your photo, podcast or whatever. So yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
So, Dr. Perry, you have an event coming up. Social media.
Yes, yes. Okay, I was like, okay, what event? Okay, so this is an event that we're doing in conjunction with Comcast Business. So Comcast Business is the business part of your internet, right? So they wanted to do something for the community, and this is a second series. The first one we talked about branding in general, like what is branding for your business, doing a comparison like how did Disney build their brand and how you can build your brand the same way. So this
Hmm.
one is social media, a little bit more fun, a little bit more people can understand that it's not so much like academic, but how do you really use social media to build your business, to really drive traffic to your store. And so that's coming up to February, I want to say the 20th, but if the Bitly is Bitly and then Comcast Business, and it's free. And it's bit.ly/Comcast Business, all lowercase. And people can register. And I'll be going over like the uses of social media. What are the main things to do an audit of your social media, how to grow your social media. Because people are like, I feel like I'm just posting, I really can't get any engagement. Then I'll just talk about how to really make sure that you are getting engagement and
Hmm.
answer questions. Because a lot of times we see different things and we don't know how do they do that. And so one of the things that I'm always discovering new tools. So one of the things is when I do my podcast, I do what I call a headliner. So I would actually take the voice of my podcast and it would be over a like a graphic, and then I will put that on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. And I was
Hmm.
like, that's really cool. I said, but I do a video podcast. I said, how do I get my, without being too much trouble, because I don't want to spend too much trouble. I said, how do I get my podcast video clip to play as just like in my Instagram? I don't want the entire thing. I just want to show like a minute.
Hmm.
So I just figured it out and I found a tool that actually will take the video of the clip and actually put it on Instagram as a reel. And I didn't know that tool existed, but if you kind of know that if it's possible to put out just the voice, then obviously I can put out just the clip. And it took like 5 minutes. Took like
Wow.
5 minutes. Yeah. So just talking about when people have questions like how do you get this? Or, it could be a easier way to be doing something just if you ask someone some questions, because it's always changing. There's always new apps, always
Right.
new tools and things
Right.
like that. Mm.
No, that's what date is it? Make sure they, and I'm definitely going to put it in the comment box. So when you're looking at it on a replay or whatever, make sure that you register for this. I'm registered for it. Give us the date again, Dr. Perry.
The date is on I want to say February 2020th, Comcast social media. All right, give me a second. I want to say Comcast social media is coming up. Yeah, so,
And so
and I
make
use
sure.
Bitly. So some of the things too, just so that you know that Bitly, people shorten a link.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it is case sensitive. So that was something that I told someone today. They said the link wasn't working for a particular thing. I said it's case sensitive. So if you use uppercase or lowercase,
It's
it's
not going to
February
work.
22nd. Yep, February
February 20th.
22nd,
At the
8:30 to
time,
9:30.
8:30 p.m.
No. In the morning. These are for early
8:30
birds because it's for
8:30
business people.
a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
To
So make
9:30.
sure it's to 9:30. Make sure that you register. So if you're working, take a couple of hours off, register, then go to work. If you're an entrepreneur, don't schedule any meetings with clients or anything, because at the end of the day, you have to build out your brand
You
exposure.
do. You really
You
do.
have to build out your brand exposure. And if you don't do that, you're doing a disservice to yourself, to your brand, and to others who just may need your services.
Yes.
So this is going to be a great opportunity. I can't wait. I'm always learning, always learning. Like I said, Dr. Pam Perry is the OG in PR. So, anything that she's doing, I'm right there, like just listening, because, one, you are an African American woman in a PR industry where it's still hard for us to get into the media.
It is. It is.
My white counterparts and even the male publicists, they get in quicker than the female publicists. And then our female counterparts get in before us. So, just to see your success in so many years, and just pouring out to others, just to, let us know, like, listen, you can do this. This isn't something where it's rocket scientists. Let's just work together. So I so appreciate you. I love the work that you are doing. So before we go, I got some questions for you. It's these like fun facts about you. So what movie would you watch over and over and over again? I mean, you must have seen it like 100 times, and you see it coming on, you'll be like, oh, no, I got to sit down and watch it. What movie would that be?
So it's two movies. One is around Christmas time. I always watch Elf. So that's like always good for a laugh at the same thing. But the movie that I will watch over and over again, and this was like before we had it on DVD, so we would wear this out all the time, and it would be House Guests with Sinbad. Sinbad's from Michigan. But I love that movie. We knew all the lines. We would be watching it and crying. And that's when he basically like is a house guest for these, and these people thought he was this other guy, but he wasn't. And he was like so poor, and he was trying to live this rich life, and he was like a dentist. I will watch that over and over again. They know that's my go-to movie if I just want to I'm crying and laughing so hard.
So it's that. And so your next one is, here's one. What is the craziest thing that either you did or you had a client do to get featured?
So one of the things that this particular client just really wanted to break out of the shell and really wanted to just really stand out. And she was older, like a senior. She had retired. And so I had her enter in a Miss Black Fit and Fine beauty contest. And now she was an executive, like over United Way. And it's like, what? And so anyway, so she fought me. And she did it. And she had the crown on and the sash and just like she was just Miss thing, right? And it gave her so much exposure. She is like, she then she signed up for like with an agency, like a modeling agency. And her first time out that she actually went out for an audition, she got a commercial shoot to do a video. And so when she called me back from the audition, she says, oh my God, I got it. I said, that's good. She said, they want me in a swimming suit. I said, come on, Miss Black Fit and Fine. The commercial ran all the time. Billboards were up. I got a mailer.
Wow.
No. This is the thing. This is her right here.
Look at that. Look at, oh my goodness.
This Black Fit and Fine. I said, are we talking this? And so the commercials were running on CNN. It was for a Health Alliance plan. And this was the thing where she didn't want to do it. And it just really separated her. So it became part of her brand because she teaches women how to live a vibrant life. So she has a course called The Vibrant Life. When she speaks, she talks about how to live a vibrant life. And she's over 70. I hope she doesn't mind me telling that, but she's over 70. And this right here is a vibrant.
That's her?
Yes.
She does. Good for her.
Yes, that is her. And that's why I said,
Wow.
I typically don't always suggest each client I work with, they have their own little path. And so that
Right.
wouldn't be like the thing that I would tell another client that you need to go
Right.
be in a beauty pageant. But sometimes when you work with clients, you kind of know what they need to go to that next level. And as
Mhm.
crazy as it sounds, she did that. She did.
Good
It
for
worked out
you.
for her. Yeah, yeah. So
Good for you. I know you were sweating like, oh my goodness, if she don't do, or if she does this and does not do well, like
well, she wanted to quit all the time. Once she applied, she wanted to quit every day. I don't want to do it. I said, "We're going to do it. I don't want to do it." And then she finally did it. Just took some coaching, and from that confidence of her doing that, she
mhm,
went on and did a whole
a
lot of
whole
other
lot.
stuff. Just
That's
fabulous
amazing.
stuff.
That's
Hmm.
amazing. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Perry. I so appreciate you again.
Oh,
And
thank you.
before we end, do you have any type of any type of nuggets that you would like to leave with the audience? You know, like I said, you've been in this game for so long. I'm still learning, and you know, like maybe a cute tip or something to that
Yeah,
extent. But
I
what do
always
you
tell
want to leave the
people.
audience with?
Yeah, I always tell people that confidence is a real big part of really getting exposure and
Hmm.
publicity and all of that. So, just in order to get out there and get known, which is the name of my podcast, is just showing up. And I always says, those that show up, go up. Just show up as your best. Compete against yourself. Don't compete and compare against other people. Just compete against yourself. And so,
Hmm.
just showing up, making sure that if you decide like, should I really go to that? Yes, go. Just showing up is really half the battle. Just showing
Right.
up to the events, to the Zoom meetings, to the virtual networking meetings, whatever it is, just showing up, making sure that you're putting your best foot forward. And I
Right.
think that's part of it, just having the confidence of being in the space because you just never know. So your energy is known. And that's just part of it because so many times people are just hiding behind the computer and they never show up anywhere. But just showing up is really important. If there's a conference, we'll both be at Faithpreneur Conference. We'll show up for
Yeah.
that, or
Hmm.
Power Networking. We'll show up for that, and it's like, oh, so many people I don't know. Exactly. That's why you
Right.
need to be there because they
Right.
don't know you. So,
Absolutely. They need to know you.
right.
Right.
So
Right.
just show up and shine. That's really the main
Absolutely.
thing.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Make sure that you guys register for Dr. Perry's social media event with Comcast on February 20th, right? Or was it February 20,
February February 22nd.
February 22nd? Make sure
Uh-huh.
you
I just
register
realized it's two. What is
to
it? Two,
22
two,
22.
two,
Right.
two. Right,
Exactly.
right. It's four twos. That's
Yes.
what's so cool.
Yes. This
Yeah.
week we had 3 twos. Was
Right.
it
We did
three?
have three
No,
twos.
no, no. No, no.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah, 3 twos.
Yes.
Yeah, so make sure that you guys register. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. Like I said, I am honoring those who have poured into me for Black history in my industry. And once again, Dr. Pam Perry is the OG, one of the OGs in PR, and she has so much wealth of knowledge that she literally just poured into me. So thank you again. I honor you,
Oh, thank
and
you.
I look forward to continue learning from you and working with you on projects. Thanks again, everyone. This is NetStruck Talks, Sharon Devonish Lead, publicity strategist, and I will see you at the next NetStruck Talks. Take care.